Hello everyone, I'm Diana Fernandez Isoteran and today I'm presenting about code switching, code mixing and diaglossia. So let's start first of all with diaglossia. And what is it? Well, it refers to the coexistence of two language varieties within a speech community, and they are commonly used in different contexts or purposes. So there exist two levels, the high level which is more formal and the low level which is more informal. And here we can see an example in these two different levels. The first one is the high level and it says you are cordially invited to attend our annual gala. And the other one is in the low level and they say, hey, wanna come to our party? So in this way we can see that they are basically saying the same but in different ways. And I think these kind of choices depend on the context, the person who you are talking to, the place in which you are, and of course as the definition says, the context and the purposes. The high level is usually used in these academic purposes or more formal context, and the other one is the one that you can use when there exists like a short social distance, like you can use with your friends or with your family. That's why they use these words that are modified or that have contractions like wanna or hey or party. But in the other hand we have this high variety that is more standardized, and they use words like cordially attend or annual gala on those kind of words. Then we have another topic or topics, which are the code switching and the code mixing. The first one, the code switching, means or is about the alternation between two or more languages or language varieties within a single conversation. It usually occurs between phrases or sentences, and the speakers change from one language to other depending on the context, topic, or listener. And the example here says, I went to the store, pero no tenía lo que quería. So here we can see that they are using first a whole sentence in English. It's not just a phrase, it's not just words or just part of these linguistic elements. It's a whole sentence in English, and then they are using another one in Spanish that say, pero no tenía lo que quería. So I think this is commonly used with people that live in, for example, Mexican people who are living in the States, and this is this kind of Spanglish that they use. And the other one is the code mixing, and it occurs when different linguistic elements like words or morphemes form from two or more languages are mixed between a single phrase or sentence. It is more informal than the code switching, and there are some words or expressions that are part of the same sentence. And here the example is estoy super busy en el trabajo. They are not using a whole sentence, just a word, which is busy, which is a word in English, in a Spanish sentence. Now, I'm going to talk about my experience, my personal experience, and my experience as a teacher and as a student in the classroom. So, first of all, my experience as a teacher, I teach to little kids that are from 6, 7, 8 years old, maybe. I tend to use this code switching as a tool because sometimes we learn new vocabulary, and for example, like weeks ago we just learned these classroom stuffs, and then I started to use these words on sentences so that they know what they mean. For example, I say saca tu notebook, usa tu pencil, or some other common words like the greetings like hello, ¿cómo estás? Or some other words that can help them to understand better and to start to use the language. And they also use it, and it shows to me that they are starting to learn the language and how to use it, because sometimes they say like, teacher, hoy me siento muy happy. And so they are using the words that they just learn to express their feelings. And sometimes happen some kind of funny situations. And I remember that some days, some weeks ago, sorry, um, a student told me, teacher, es que yo me peleé con mi brother. And I say, what? And he says, sí, con mi brother. And I say, ¿peleaste con quién? Con mi brother, teacher. And I say, what do you mean? ¿Qué quieres decir con brother? And he say, no, pues que me peleé con mi hermana. And I was about to laugh, but I didn't. And then I say, oh, peleaste con tu sister. And he said, yes, I peleé con mi sister. And he started to tell me what happened and some other things. And so I think it also shows how they are starting not just to memorize, but also to create, to think about. Maybe they are just starting to change the way we create words in Spanish and to create words in English, because in Spanish we add an a to create a word in about a woman. For example, we say hermano and hermana. So he thought that when you say brother and you want to refer to your sister, you have to say brother. So it was kind of funny, and it was really interesting how they use this code mixing, because they don't use code switching, especially because they are kids. They don't have like this high level. And well, another about my experience as a student, and something that I realized just in the last class, because I I knew about these concepts in my language acquisition class, but I didn't talk about this thing, because we talk about that you cannot use this code switching or code mixing when you are talking to a person who don't know both languages, because they are not going to understand you. So I haven't think about this thing, and I think this is very important, and that's why we usually use this in the school. And for example, I use it also as a tool to learn, because sometimes I'm with my friends or I am with my teachers, but not all kind of teachers, just the teachers to whom I feel more comfortable, or I am closer, and I tend to use this for me to express the words that I don't know. And I cannot think on an example just right now, but yes, it is a very useful tool. And then another one, about my personal experience, is that I have seen, I don't know if another generations use this code switching or code mixing, but I have seen that my generation uses it a lot, especially in social media, because you can see in these apps like TikTok or Instagram that there are some girls, especially these kind of girls that I don't want to say that they are mean girls, but they are like niñas fresa, and they say things like, ay, sí, me fui de party y luego me fui al after. So they are using these words in English and adding to sentences in Spanish. So it's kind of funny, and I think that they are using it just to show off about that they know how to speak English, but it's also interesting how we can learn new vocabulary from that. And I remember that when I was in elementary school, I didn't study English, I didn't know anything about English, and then I started to see these kind of memes that say, um, let's say, use these words when and but, and they say things like, when vas a la escuela, but te cancelan clases. I know that this is not funny, but I'm just trying to explain you how these memes works. Um, I didn't knew anything about English, and then I started to acquire some new vocabulary, and then when I started my English classes, I knew what those words mean, because I use it a lot and a lot trying to when I share memes on Facebook, and it was a funny way to learn the language. And I just realized just right now that I have used this code switching just a few minutes ago when I say, I don't know, I don't want to say mean girls, but are these niñas fresa. And here we can see how we use this code mixing for us to express those things that we don't know. That's what I was referring to when I talk about that. Me as a student, I use it as a tool. So maybe you are thinking about, oh, she can say niña fresa in this way, and you can help me to know how to say this kind of words that I don't know how to express. But you get my ideas because you know Spanish and you know English, so we both understand us. And no, okay, now let's talk about the implications in the learning process. The first ones are the facilities of comprehensions, where the students can use their mother tongue or the first language to clarify those concepts that they don't understand about the second language, like the things that I said before, like if they use their mother tongue, like when I say niñas fresa, to clarify the things that they don't know. I don't know how to say niñas fresa in English because I'm not going to say strawberry girls. And then they promote the bilingual identity because students can develop this confidence when they are in these interactions between those two languages. And in this bilingual identity, I think is mostly used in these countries like the States, where there is a lot of foreign people that use both languages at the same time. And also encourage the creativity, like as I said before with my students, that they started to create words with the Spanish system but in English. So they mix and switch words to show how they adapt the language. But not all of this is positive, because I also consider that there are some negative aspects, for example, or these challenges that comes with these codes. The first one is that it makes us lower the process of the L2 or the second language acquisition or learning, because when some students start to use this code switching or code mixing a lot, like most of the time, and they don't want to learn these new concepts. It is hard for them because they started to stuck in this part and not to improve. So it is important for us as teachers that we develop some strategies to manage this excessive switching. And then we have the social implications, because these topics can work as a bridge of communities, because they create a connection across these different language and cultures. The other one is the identity formation, and that is that when you are talking in two different languages at the same time, you are also showing what are the communities you belong to. Like when you are in the States and you are talking in English and Spanish, you are telling them that you are from Latin America. Or like when you are this kind of niñas fresas and you are using this Spanglish, you are also saying that I know how to speak English. I'm part of that people that has living in another country. So you are belonging to a different group. And it also promotes the multilingualism. Because we're respecting the diversity that exists among people. Because when we use this kind of code switching and code mixing, we are also, oh, I forgot to mention a point, the solidarity and inclusion. That's what I wanted to say. We are helping each other. We are being solidarity with those people that don't know how to express themselves. So that's what I consider, that's what I think about these topics. And thank you so much for your attention.